If you're considering hiring an advisor or you're currently in the process right now of hiring one, then grab some popcorn because this video is from you. You won't want to miss it. What's going on, guys? For those of you who are new here, my name is Braden and I'm the CEO of Advancement Hockey Advising. Today, what we'll be talking about is the hockey advising industry as a whole, why it has a bad reputation, and what we're trying to do to really change the overall reputation and landscape of the hockey industry. In this video, we'll be covering 6 main things. First, advisor versus agent, just a brief overview, why and how the advising industry began, the current perception and reputation that advisors have, how we're trying to change the industry and what steps and processes we have in place, what legitimate advisors can actually do for you and what value they can provide, and what you need to do and how you can pick a great advisor. All right, let's dive into it. But before, of course, I'm gonna ask you guys to absolutely destroy that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell so you never miss another video moving forward. Now we're gonna dive into it. So the first big thing we wanna get into is what is an advisor, what is an agent, what do they do for me, and what's the difference between the two? So an advisor or agent, basically what they do, they have 2 roles. They're one, a mentor for you, and 2, they help place you on the target team that you're trying to go for. Now, the biggest difference between the two is that an advisor charges an upfront fee, and they basically go for the mid to higher end players, but more the mid end players when they try and place these guys. So they're trying to place them NCAA, Junior A, Prep, so on, right? An agent goes for really the elite players. So think Connor McDavid, Sidney Crosby, Nathan MacKinnon, 𝗏𝗏𝗡. They really go for all these elite type players because how an agent gets paid is that they take a percentage of a contract that player signs when they turn pro. So an agent's more of a high risk, high reward type situation where when they sign a player, they don't get paid right away. They get paid if the player works out for them and they actually sign a pro contract one day. So there's a lot of work up front, whereas the advisor gets paid upfront by the player and the family. So what's the current perception and reputation of advisors right now? Well, overall, it's not great. You know, advisors kind of in the eyes of coaches and some parents as well, it's a bit of a sketchy reputation, a bit of a slimy industry, you know, and for good reason. There have been a lot of bad actors in the past, and we're actually trying to change this, but so far the reputation's still not fantastic. Just because, for example, I'll give a couple stories. For me, the first advisor I had, we paid him quite a bit of money. We paid them, I'll just share the numbers, $3,000, which is a pretty standard fee in the advising world. Thinking this guy's really gonna be on the phone with us a lot. He's gonna set up meetings, give us like tips for development, place us on target teams and all that stuff. That's the whole pitch that he kind of sold us. And then when I tried to call him, when I had to choose between 2 different teams, between a good team in the NOJHL and a not so great team in the CCHL, I had a tough decision to make where I get more ice time on one and the other one maybe not so much ice time but a better league. As soon as I called him, no answer. Try calling him, nothing. Get a phone call like 2 months later asking me how my dad's farm's going. You know, totally irrelevant. So those are the horror stories. Obviously, not every advisor is like that. There are some really good actors in this space. We'd like to think ourselves as one, and we're trying to really change things. But overall, right now, it still has that perception because of bad actors in the past. Now, there's a few reasons why this occurs. I think the first one is that there's a really low barrier to entry to become an advisor. There's no governing body or organization like the NHLPA, for example, for agents. You know, for advisors, anybody can really call themselves an advisor. If you have any sort of hockey experience, you can really say, hey, I'm an advisor. I'm going to charge you a fee, get you to where you want to go. And because of this, the low barrier to entry, anybody can do it. And unfortunately, there's going to be bad actors if nobody's really vetted, right? So that's a big reason. The second biggest one is because there's an upfront fee charged. Some of these advisors, they say,
hey, pay me like $10,000, a lifetime fee, and I'll be an advisor for the rest of your life.
Well, unfortunately, because of this model, you pay the money up front, then the advisor has no, like if they don't have any morals whatsoever, they have no incentive to really, you know, keep working because they already got paid, right? So good advisors, they structure their payment plans in a way where you have to pay on performance and pay over time, right? But because of this type of incentive model and because of the low barrier to entry, I think these are the main reasons why a lot of bad actors have entered the space in the past. So how do we plan on changing the industry? What's our goal? Our goal really is to set the new standard in advising to really make sure that the quality's up here and that over time, the really bad actors and the poor ones just get weeded out and it's only high quality people in the space. That's our ultimate goal. How do we plan on doing that? Several ways. The first one is a big emphasis on education, transparency, and honesty, and really giving as many free resources as possible to people out there so we end the whole hush-hush culture in hockey. To be honest, I went through it myself. A lot of people I know kind of went through the hush-hush thing. I think it's completely so inappropriate. I think everybody should be on the same playing field when it comes to information. So us, what we're trying to do, we create a ton of YouTube videos that are completely free for you guys to give you guys information. We have AHA Plus, which is a free community that people can join to ask us questions and have an interactive community so we're all on the same page. You know, we're trying to give as much free value and content as possible so people are educated, can ask better questions, and make the best decisions in their career. So that's the one big thing. Number two, we have a team of advisors that genuinely care, that are in it for the right reasons, and that do really provide a phenomenal service. So if you have a question, they're gonna answer you within 24 hours. You can text them, email them, call them, whatever. They're your advisor, they're on your team, right? That's the standard that should be across the industry. How it's not like that yet, I don't know, but we're really working that that's the standard, that you get streamlined communication and mentorship from your advisor. Secondly, we actually deliver on the results. So when we say we're gonna be honest with people where we think we can place them, what their target league should be, what's realistic goals versus, you know, optimistic goals versus pessimistic goals, we kind of all talk with that in the family. We're all upfront and we actually deliver the result because we're honest and upfront with them, and we do have a good network of coaches. So again, this should be the standard. There should be no lying in the industry, no like trying to get money basically and lying and then ghosting people. That should never happen. You should just be upfront with the family and what you can deliver. And at the end of the day, with these things, we're trying to leave people with nothing but good things to say about the service, about the education we're providing, because we really value our reputation and we want you guys to have the most value possible. If you're unsure about the next steps of your hockey career and you want to speak to an advisor to get some free advice, the best way to get in touch with us is by clicking the link in the description below. All right, let's get back to the video here. So what can a legitimate advisor do for you as a family versus one that's really not good, but what can a really good one actually do for you? Number one, like I alluded to a while ago, they kind of act as a mentor and they really help you navigate the entire hockey landscape. It's a complex world out there. Honestly, the hockey industry is not very simple and it can lead to a lot of questions. Yes, the YouTube videos can help here, but obviously there's a lot of information to take and sometimes you have questions, you want to ask an advisor questions. So they will help, they're experts, so they're going to help you navigate the entire landscape. What's a good decision? What's a bad decision? What camps to go to? What camps to avoid? Number two, they're probably going to give you opportunities that you wouldn't have gotten otherwise. You know, when they know your target list of coaches, they reach out to their network and they can see, okay, this coach needs this, needs that, needs this. This player is probably the right fit. They'll put you in touch with the right people. So they'll save you time, first of all. They're going to get you likely what you want. They're going to give you the opportunities and you're going to save a ton of money because you're not going to go to all these useless camps where coaches aren't really interested. The advisor's already doing the vetting for you, or a good advisor at least, gives you the target list, and that way you actually go to teams and camps where you actually have a legit shot and you're probably going to increase your chances of making the team that you want to make. And what do they do for a coach? Well, basically they save the coach a ton of time, and what coaches do with trusted advisors is that they reach out and say, hey, what players do you have? What players are looking? We give them names, we match them, we see what players are interested in, and then we kind of match a player and coach, right? So it saves the coach a ton of time, and if we give them basically the right player over and over again, the coaches trust us and they really end up taking our word on it. So now lastly, the big thing we need to cover is how can you move forward and pick a fantastic advisor that's the right fit for you? It's the $1 million question, right? Now, because the barrier to entry is so low, because there's been bad actors in the past and still are some bad actors out there for advisors, it's important to really critically think and to use these principles here that I'm about to mention. So first off, interview multiple candidates. I think you can interview 4 to 5, if not more advisors. I think 4 to 5 is a good place to start. Ask around, ask people who they know, see which advisors they'd recommend, and then interview a ton and really ask some difficult questions like, what are your results? What players do you have? What players do you move on? How fast do you answer your text messages? What are you gonna do for me? Really ask them like specific questions, see how they answer. See what your chemistry is with them, see how honest they are, how professional they look, what does their website look like? All of these things really, really matter, and you wanna put them under a microscope, and you'll know after like interviewing them a few times and interviewing a bunch of candidates, which one's the best fit for you. Secondly, the big thing is in the research here, you wanna ask around. You wanna ask people that have worked with them in the past, not through the advisor. Ideally, you can try and ask around, hey, do you recommend this person? Are they actually good to work with? Clients that were the advisor's client in the past will be pretty honest with you overall. If you can't find anybody indirectly, you can ask the advisor to provide references, 2 or 3 even. You know, I think if you can have 3 legit references that they can provide, I think that would be a good place to start. But obviously, it's always better if you can get an unbiased reference that the advisor doesn't provide. If they can't provide any references, big red flag, definitely move on and go to another advisor. There has to be references and testimonials that are legit that they can provide to you. Last but not at least just go with your gut. Go with the person that gives the best vibes, that you have the best chemistry with. No big red flags, no going to jail, nothing like that. It sounds crazy, but there's definitely advisors that have been to jail in the past that are bad actors. So really go with somebody that you can trust, that you have good chemistry with, and that your gut feeling says an absolute yes to this person over the others. A great advisor can be a huge difference maker in your career, but be wary of the bad actors out there. Do your research, have some critical thinking, and pick the best person that you think is the best right fit for you overall. So if you like this type of content, if you like this video, click here or click here to keep watching. If you have any questions for us, you're interested in an advisor, click the link down below to get in touch with us. Thank you so much for watching, my friends. We'll catch you on that next one.